Well, hello, welcome to another episode of Jim's Allotment Garden. Okay, so it's the right time of year to start to take fuchsia cuttings. Now I've taken these off a well-established bush today, and I just want to show you the easiest way of doing it. Now I've taken millions of fuchsia cuttings in the past, and the most important thing is you need to be taking out, I don't know if you can see that, but in there we've got flower buds which are starting to form. So most certainly what you want to do is take those out and just pull the leaves back slightly like that. And take out those flower buds so that the plant's not trying to develop those flowers anymore. Now if you can get cuttings with 3 leaves on, with fuchsias you'll either get a set of 2 leaves or a set of 3 leaves. Set of 3 leaves is most certainly better if you can. Now the easiest thing to do is, we're taking some of these leaves off anyway, but if you can see the cutting there, and if you can see that, what we want to be doing is cutting just below where those leaves are coming out there. Okay, so with a nice sharp knife, cut through literally just below there. Now this is where the roots are going to start to form from, so I don't know if you can see that, a nice clean cut through. And with a knife then, put a knife up between the leaf and the stem like that, and then cut through like that. Again, if we look at this bit here, all I'm doing is putting the knife up between the leaf and the stem, and again cutting through. And obviously there's 3 on here, so just do that 3rd time. So between the knife and the stem, just push down with your thumb. So you should get 4 clean cuts like that through. And then all you need to do is, now this plant isn't going to have any roots on right now, so it's going to struggle to support all of these leaves. So it's going to be losing water, moisture through these leaves. So what we need to be doing is taking off, just pull out these leaves like that. Just with my thumb, I'm just pulling it out like that. So I'm going to leave the shoots on because they're not going to be losing too much moisture, but they will grow on to form the plant. Now with a lot of shrubs, what you need to do, or the best thing to do, is to plant it down the side of a pot or whatever like that. But with fuchsias, to be honest with you, you can just go straight into the middle. So what I'm going to do in each of these, I've got probably enough to put 2 in each of these. So with a pencil, make a hole in the soil, and you want to try and get that in as far as you possibly can do, and then make sure that the soil or the earth is you know, most certainly touching the where you've taken the leaves off. So just to quickly show you again, first thing you do is take the knife through just below the leaf joint, and then with the knife just go up between, cut. You want a nice sharp knife like that, and cut through each of those so you end up with nice clean cuts like that. Take off the leaves so you've not got too many leaves, because obviously it'll be losing moisture through there like that. And what you can actually do is, you know, if you've only got 2 leaves on there, what you can actually do is take off half a leaf like that if needs be. Leave the little shoots on because that'll form the bush later. That shouldn't be too much foliage like that. And again, all we need to do is, well, I'll put this one up the side of here. Put your pencil in, don't push it in, just put your pencil in like that, make a hole, insert it into the hole as deep as you can go, and then make sure that the soil is nice and firm around there. Now they'll grow into 2 nice fuchsia bushes, and all I'm going to do is continue to do this. Now as soon as you've got them all in, see this one's got 2 leaves on. What you need to do, as soon as you've done this, what you need to do is water them. You don't need it to be too moist, you just want to put a little bit of water on. and then what you want to do is keep it out of direct sunlight in a reasonably cool greenhouse. They will most certainly root better in a greenhouse than they will outside. So you need to keep them, warm. Don't put them in too much sunlight, because that's where you'll get too much evaporation from the leaves. You need to keep them out of direct sunlight most certainly, at least for the first couple of weeks. And you'll be able to tell these will root quite quickly. You can obviously, any bud, see there's a bud there in there. I'm going to take that bud out. Now these fuchsias these cuttings should root within I'd say 2 weeks. You'll start to get roots forming, and the roots are going to form from where you've cut the stalk here. So if I just do this one, so that face there, that's where the roots are going to come from. Basically, when you when you start to see roots forming, that's where they're going to come from. Again, I've got a green fly on there. That's what this like foam is on here. That's a green fly trying to get the sap out. You most certainly don't want them on. Don't want any of those on your cuttings. Again, make a hole. You don't want to put the cutting so the bottom is touching the bottom of the pot. You want some soil to be under there. Now, as I say, keep these in the cool for a couple of weeks at least, and then what you'll start to see is the cutting will start to grow. As soon as you start to see these sort of leaves here growing bigger and starting to form further, then you'll know that it's rooted. Obviously, to check that it's rooted, what you can do is just pull it out of the pot, and you'll be able to see the roots at the bottom. But expect it to take 2 to 3 weeks for them to root. There are other means and ways of doing this. What you can do is you can actually put these in water, and they'll root that way. So you can take cuttings like that. Just basically do exactly what I'm doing here. Take off the leaves with the knife, like that, and then just put them in some water in a sort of shallow pot or something, and you can get them to root that way as well. As I say, a lot of people sort of with some of the other shrubs, they tend to put them up the side of the pot, but I find with fuchsias, it's as successful in the middle as it is at the edge, to be honest with you. And I find that with them being in the middle, you can leave them in there a bit longer till the root ball forms, and then you can pot them up that bit quicker, so it's less work for you later on. But I've found the biggest thing to look for really is not to overwater them. You want some moisture to be there. I'm just taking the flower buds out of here. There's a few flower buds in there. Let's just take them to one side and pull them off, because what you don't want is the energy to go into the flowers. What you can do is you can overwater them, and then they'll actually start to rot. So you don't want to be doing that really. So again, just do this last one. Sorry, no, I've got one more after this. Just pull the leaves off like that. You can cut the leaves off, or just cut them off. So all I'm going to do is just put a little bit of water on these, and that will be more than enough to get them going. Don't keep them too moist. You're probably going to need to put a little bit of water on probably once a week, unless the weather gets too hot. If you do lose the fuchsia cuttings, the likelihood is it's because you've watered them too much. So you're much better off going sparingly with the water. You're much better off giving them too little water rather than too much water, to be honest. Right, so I think that's the last one. So what I'm going to do is move one of these from here and just bob it in there. So it's just off camera, like that. And those are so there's 10 cuttings in there. So as I say, in a couple of weeks' time, I'll show you those again, and then basically what you can do is pot them on. Keep an eye on them. If you see any other flower buds forming in here, which is possible, there's actually one there I've just spotted. They might be too small to grab right now, but if you do see any other flower buds, pull them off straight away. You don't want them in there. they'll take the energy out of the cutting. So right, so I'll just give them a little bit of water. Obviously water them with tap water. You know, using a bottle like this with a little water thing on there will allow you just to put a little bit on there. That's all you need, just a small amount of water. If you do put them in your greenhouse, put them in a sheltered, you know, out of direct sunlight. You don't want direct sunlight on them at all. So underneath a bench, like under this one here, is ideal. Keep them by the door. You want to keep them reasonably cool and out of direct sunlight, and they should root away, and we'll have 10 nice fuchsia plants for later in the season. Okay, so we're about to put the ginger in, aren't we, Dorothy? Yes. So anyway, so what we've got here is I've put some fresh compost in here, and I've mixed it all up. I took about a foot or so off the top from what we had last year, and I've mixed it all in. I've put a bit of water in there as well because it was quite dried out. Now this is all kind of fresh on the top here. Now what I've got here is bloodfish and bone meal, so I'm just going to sprinkle that in as well. Now obviously Ginger's reasonably hungry, so I wanted to now I'm going to have to swap over hands now. So what I wanted to do was just mix some more sort of goodness into the soil, really. The reason being is this is the comfrey compost, and there's not that much kind of nutrients in it. So I thought what I'd do is I'd mix some bloodfish and bone in it like that, and then that's going to sort of enhance it a bit, basically a bit, and you know, give it a bit, because there's about kind of 2 or 3 months worth of goodness in there, and then obviously as soon as that's run out, then obviously the bloodfish and bone meal that I've just put in will kind of take over and give it that extra boost at the end. Now I showed you the ginger a week or so ago, so that basically this is what it looks like now. So that's what the sort of the little shoots look like coming off the top. So what I'm going to do, I've got quite a few here. So basically what I'm going to do is basically plant them in with these kind of facing up. Now I've seen various methods with ginger. You can either put them flat like that, or actually face them up. I'm actually going to face them up. I think that's probably going to be better. So I'll put this one at the back. So all I need to do is basically dig out a spot like that, bob him in. So it ends up being probably about about 3 or 4 inches below the ground level, and then just put some soil around. What I'll do obviously in a minute is give this a load of water so it's all nice. I mean I've left the compost not too wet because you know, 'cause I knew I'd be handling it, so I'll put these ones in. These have all got little shoots on, so I'll just bob them in round the edge like that. Put some soil on that one, put one here. So I'm just working my way around really, like that. Put one in here. Now you can grow these, you know, I could potentially grow these straight in these borders here, but I've decided to put them in this pot again like I did last year. Now this one's really shriveled. This one was one of the first ones I showed you. But as you can see, there is a shoot at the top there. These ones I'm not that sure about. These are also showing some shoots here, and that one's got a reasonably good one on there. So I'll bob these two in next. So basically what I've done is I've gone all the way around the edge, and that needs to be a bit deeper. I've gone all the way around the edge with these like that. I'll put one in there, like that, and I've got just enough room for one more in there. As you can see, there's the first one I put in there. So I'll just put one more in there, and then these others that are left over, and that's got some reasonably good shoots on. And then the 2 that I've got left over, what I'll do is I'll put those in the middle. So that's all around the edge. And then if I go to the middle now, oh, a bit of weed in there, I can put the 2 sitting in the middle like that. So that's basically the ginger in for this year. Obviously there's one little shoot there that's looking okay. These, I think these got a bit off, so they're not looking quite that healthy, but we'll see how we go anyway. So I'll put one there, and I'll put one there like that. Right, just put this all over. Now, all I'm going to do now basically is give that a really good watering, and then leave them to it. And it normally, you know, if kind of last year's anything to go by, it'll take about 2 or 3 weeks, and we should start to see those coming up. So there we go. So I'll just put some water on that, and that's the ginger done for this year. Okay, so as well as planting tomatoes in the this large greenhouse that we're in now, I'm also going to be planting some which will be grown both in the other greenhouse and outside. Now the difference really is that obviously these are going to be grown in pots. Now this is a sort of 12-inch pot, and it's, you know, it's as tomatoes grow quite sort of quickly. You know, you need to most certainly get them in to these pots as quickly as possible. Now I've left these another couple of weeks so that they're a bit sort of bigger. Again, I'm going to take off the seed leaves at the bottom. These are the sort of the smaller leaves, and again you're going to have the roots forming at the bottom here. So what you want to do is I'm going to take these 2 leaves off altogether, take out the side shoots from here. Now this is actually an Allotment plant, so what I'm going to do is just basically just disturb the roots a little bit at the bottom. That will encourage the roots to grow out. And what I'm going to actually do is plant it so it's about 4 inches deeper than it was in the other pot. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's slightly deeper. Now this compost is the clover compost, which is really good for vegetables. And as you're feeding tomatoes, you know, they are quite hungry plants. You need a good sized pot like this, and it's got a good depth to it as well. As you're feeding them, you know, this compost is ideal really. Now the difference in these plants to the ones in the greenhouse is I'll be watering these from the bottom. So these are going to be sitting in trays, and then the trays are basically going to be filled with about 1 inch of water, and then so that's going to feed into the plant here. So the bottom half of the pot is going to be sitting around 1 inch of water, and then through capillary action, which is basically as the compost is sitting in the ground, the water will be drawn naturally up through the compost and to the top. It's very much the same. Probably the best way to describe it is when you're on a beach. If the beach looks dry, as you step on the sand, it'll actually bring the water to the top, and it's the pressure of that sort of brings it up. So basically, the water will be sort of rising up through the pot to water the tomatoes. Now, to start it off, what you need to do is water them from the top. And that'll make all the compost wet, and then just sit it in water, and from there on in it'll be drawing the water up from the bottom and watering the tomato for you. So I'll be doing a number of these. Some of them will be outside, and some of them will be in the other greenhouse to carry on growing. Now the ones in the greenhouse will be a little bit earlier fruiting than the ones outside, but there shouldn't be a lot of difference. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick tour. Now, I did have a comment from Spate Water saying, you know, why did I do the beds in the greenhouse? Because you know, with it being so late, me putting the tomatoes in. And I hope the size of these tomatoes now, I mean, bearing in mind they've only been in there 2 weeks, you can see, you know, you can see how big they are. I mean, that plant now, since that's been put in, that's most certainly grown about 2.5 foot or something like that, and it's the warmth in the roots that really bring on the growth. And you can see the cucumbers at the back, you know, they've really shot up. And we've had reasonably cold weather in the UK over the past few weeks, so you know, it's not been the warmth from outside. This has most certainly been warmth generated inside the greenhouse. And if you can keep the roots warm, you know, and there's all that goodness and bacteria going on in the roots, you know, it really does bring the plants on, because they're getting all the nutrition that they need. So you can really see that these, you know, on some of these tomato plants now, I'm on the 3rd fruit truss, so you know, they are growing really well. The grapevine's been cut back a little bit. I have been a bit brutal, to be honest with you, but I've cut it all back. Unfortunately, because of the frost, I've lost all of the grapes, all the little grape bunches of grapes that were on there. Unfortunately, have sort of shriveled up and fell off. But as I say, you know, it is only the 2nd year really that it's been, you know, sort of growing really. So you know, it's not kind of too bad. So that's the greenhouse. Got the ginger in the end there that you may have seen the clip earlier. You the cucumbers have got up to about sort of 2.5 foot now at the back, so I've already tied those up with the other, the double-sided Velcro stuff. So they're due for another tie before it's much longer. These are the Alicante and the Gardener's Delight over here, and you can see that's how big they were when they went in. These plants really do need to be sort of potted up or put outside or wherever. But that's what the tomatoes look like. These are what you saw in the last video. These are the Swede. These need to be thinned out a little bit, and these are the chard, really growing quite nicely. I only need to 3 or 4 of the parts in there, so I'm going to give them to somebody else. Somebody else who wants some of those. So you can see those are the rainbow tomatoes at the end. So that, I mean, within another 2 foot, that's going to be at the top of the process. So you can see how quickly we're going. So it is worth spending the time and getting the ground right. It's the same with any type of gardening. I can't stress that enough. If you get the ground right, the rest will come. But if you don't dig the ground properly, if you don't prepare it and put lots of organic material in there and lots of goodness and sort of fertilise the ground and get the mixture right, your plants will struggle. And then water feeds and stuff like that, and and no substitute really for good quality ground in the most certainly when you're growing like this. So they're all the tomatoes. The gourds that you saw me put out, they haven't changed very much. As I say, we've had loads of rain in the UK over the past few weeks, so this is really the first time I've been able to get up to the allotment because we've had so much rain. We've been literally having about 2 or 3 inches every day. So a lot of these plants, this should have all been cut down by now. That's the comfrey, so that really does need to be cut back now. All these herbs are growing really well. That's the oregano at the front here. I've been cutting a little bit of that off for cooking. Mint at the back. Now these are the tomatoes that I planted the same day as those in there. The only thing different is they've stayed outside. They've been inside the greenhouse, and obviously they had all the good stuff under them. So you can see the difference in growth between the two, from there to there. Alright, just coming around here, all of the beans and that have gone in. Got quite a few of the sunflowers in, but I've got some more to go in. The ochre plants are doing not too badly. They have been battered a bit by this rain, but what I need to do now is get these other few in here. That's the birdhouse gourd which I've left to go there. These are some chilies and that I've grown, but I've not had a chance to prick them out yet. But these are jalapeno chilies, and this is a chili pepper hot lemon. But as you can see, it's not done very well outside. I'm hoping that all these little shoots here are going to bush out now, but it's got a bit battered outside. This is some lettuce, and believe it or not, that actually at the end there is a little ochre plant that's grown from seemingly nowhere. So anyway, I need to get the rest of the ochre in there. These ones are getting to the point now where they're starting to flop over, but I will be planting those out and putting them around here. This is the second comfrey plant, as you can see, growing really strongly. So I need to cut that back now as well. Pretty much all the flowers have gone. Now the bees have loved this, but what I don't want to do is let this seed, because the plants will be everywhere. Believe it or not, I actually weeded out this asparagus bed, and yet all the weeds have come back again. The raspberries are doing really well. They're just starting to ripen, as you can see there. They are starting to come, but they've got a few weeks to go yet. But they are most certainly coming. They're throwing loads of shoots up from the bottom. So yeah, they're really growing really well. The fruit trees, I've put the other gourds in at the bottom here. I'm just going to grow these up through here. But the weeds have been absolutely incredible. This is a bit of bindweed here. Look, this stuff is an absolute nightmare. Now I've been pulling it out by the yard over the past few days since I've been able to get back up into the allotment. But it's just wrapped itself all the way around the trees. And I've pulled the roots out to the bottom, so it's most certainly dead. But it's just grown like billio. And you can see there the jostaberries growing up there, and the cherries have just started to ripen. As you can see there, that's quite a nice little cherry there, just ripening. Hopefully the birds won't have them. But there were more cherries on here. I'm not sure if the birds have had those or if they just fell off, or what the rain might have blown them off. Some more gourds. I've kind of planted them under here. in the hope that they'll grow up along this framework. So those are the fruit trees. I do need to cut these fruit trees back a little bit really and train them, but that's what they look like. Now the potatoes, I mean, you can see how much they've grown over the past week. They've, you know, this rain, they've really benefited, and they've grown right up, so that some of them have actually started to flower. So hopefully they won't start dying off quite yet, but there's a few patches where they're not so sort of strong, and the plants are quite small, but I don't know. I've had potatoes before where you get really nice big tops, you know, and they're all, you know, sort of growing really well, and then when you dig them up there's almost nothing under the ground. And other years I've had sort of reasonably small tops that have flowered quite early, and then when you dig the actual potatoes up there's loads of nice big potatoes. So you can never really judge from what's on the top really, you know, as a rule of thumb. If you've got good tops you've got good potatoes underneath, but it's never 100% like that. Now these are they're the Ocullo. Now they've not grown particularly well. I think it's because it's been a little bit cool for them, but they have most certainly grown, but they're nowhere near as much as I thought. But what I need to do is get in there and get the hoe in there and get them weeded a bit, because you can see the weeds coming through. The weeds everywhere. These are the French beans, as you can see. They're climbing up quite nicely. I do have to keep coming up and re-wrapping these round, because they don't these don't seem to wrap themselves around quite as much as the other beans, but they're not growing too badly. Now the sweet peas have actually started to flower now, as you can see. Let's get that some sunlight on there. As you can see there, and there's a white one just coming there. But they have grown quite a lot over the last couple of weeks. They've grown almost a couple of foot. This is the first tunnel. You'll see a massive difference in here. So this is the kale on this side. That's the portrage kale that was very kindly sent me by Richard, and he's done me proud really. They've grown really well, so I do need to see this one here. I do need to tie that one up now, so I need to come up here with a bit of string and tie them up. This is Scottish kale at the front, and you can just about make the lettuces in the middle. We have had a few of the lettuce, but that's just starting to form the heart now. So I did actually water it a couple of times in here, and then it's rained since. That's the this is the not Inca, what's it called? This is the Aztec broccoli. So you can see that's grown really well. What I might do actually is put some sticks on that, because that seems to be going a little bit top heavy. Now that grows around 2.5 foot high. So what I will do is put some bamboo sticks in there and just tie that up, just to, you know, because I wouldn't want those to be damaged. This is that's some cauliflower there, and we've got some other kale there. As I say, the weeds have just gone absolutely balmy. This is the broccoli here. That's growing really well. I've got some more curly kale at the front here. So that's the brassica case. This is some more cauliflowers here. This one there's failed for some reason, but I've got a couple of spares there. I'm going to put one of those in there when I get 2 minutes. But that's the, as I say, that's the first broccoli tunnel, coming on really well. You can see the weeds. This was all weeded a couple of weeks ago. There was hardly any weeds, and now they're everywhere. The onions have really come on. They've really benefited from this weather. As you can see, they're really starting to fatten up around the bottom, which is a really good sign. And they are quite healthy. I've got one that's got curly leaves there, and there's another one here that's got a bit curly leaves. Now I don't know if that's the allium bug, or if that's just one of these onions that's gone a bit weird. But what I might do is pull that out and put a couple of spares in. I've still got some spares left, but all the others seem to be going okay. These are the I need to get this cage off these. These are the beetroot. Now I've got some spare plants to go in between where they failed. These are the parsnips. As you can see, they really do need to be. So they're the parsnip plants there. Look, they need to be thinned out and weeded, but they're not doing too badly. The leeks, I don't know why, but some of them have vanished. I think this rain that we've had just kind of washed them down the hole. So they're yeah, I've still got some spares, so I can put some more spares in there. That's what we're doing there. The rhubarb, as you can see here, I've been picking quite a lot of rhubarb, so we've done well out of that, but that's starting to go over now. So it grows quite quickly and then it goes over quickly as well, so you need to get in there whilst it's growing. But as I say, don't overpick rhubarb, always let it put some goodness back into the root. Okay, and this is the second tunnel. To be honest with you, the peas haven't done very well at all, so I've kind of given up on them. I'm going to put something else in here, I think, because the peas just haven't done. So what we're going to do is, when I weed all this out soon as the ground dries up a little bit, I'll get on there and get all the weeds out, and then I'm just going to pull the peas out, to be honest with you, because they've not been a lot of good. This is the another row of Scottish kale in here that's doing quite well in here, and I've got the the sprout cabbage on there, so they're doing really well as well. These are the 2 rows of spinach beet, which have not done too badly. The row of swede at the back has completely failed. The same beetle that's had all the peas has also had the swede as well. So what I need to do is there is the odd one. That's one there, and that's one there, and that's one there. But as you can see, they're just not. There's most certainly not a row there. So I'm going to pull all of these calendulas out that are between them, and I've got some growing in the greenhouse. So what I'm going to do is bob those in the next couple of weeks as soon as it starts to dry up. Okay, coming up the front, these are the sunflowers I've put in. These are the giant ones that I always grow, and between them are the calendulas that kind of self-set themselves. So as you can see here, I've got a nice little bunch of them growing there. So you always see them on the beginning of the videos, but they're growing quite nicely. Weeds in the path again, so I need to get some weed kill up there. These are the gourd. You can see how much rain we've had. It's all flooded here basically, but the gourds have done well out of it. These are the courgette plants. These are the pumpkin plants, and then we've got the squash plants at the end there. So they're really coming on. They're enjoying it. That's the mashua. As you can see, that's almost at the top of the poles in a couple of places. So that's growing quite well, and the beans are doing pretty well. But unfortunately, the birds have pulled all the grass cuttings out of the bottom. Unfortunately, but as you can see, the beans are at the top now. They're most certainly at the top. Now, what you can do as soon as they get to the top, here's a quick tip. What you can do is just pull out the top of the plant like that. Just nick the top of the plant off, and what they'll actually do is it'll encourage the plant to bush out again from the side, so you'll get some more side shoots going up, and therefore you get more beans, and you end up with your beans don't get kind of too top heavy if you do this. So as they get to the top, just take the growing tip out like that, and then they'll start to bush out again from the bottom, and you get more shoots going up. So those are the beans. Just sort of watch your eye on them, keep your eye on them, should I say, and then as soon as the shoot gets to the top like that, just make sure you've got it wrapped around the top like that, and then just take the growing tip out like that, and they'll actually bush out like that. You just have to keep your eye on them and sort of do it every couple of days as you're coming up. As I say, I've not been able to get up for a week or so because of the weather. Now this is the other side. Obviously these are the McCullough plants. As you can see, they're not really growing too much, but they are growing, but not anywhere near as quick as I would have liked them. Now I actually weeded all the potatoes out, and you can see the weeds have all come back. So most certainly it's a year of the weeds. I've not known weeds grow quite this quickly before, but as you can see, there's quite a few here. This is one area that I just quickly did with the hoes rather than pulling them out. But they've really taken over some of the weeds. The bindweeds absolutely everywhere. Anyway, one good story is the strawberries are doing pretty well. As you can see, we've got plenty of strawberries coming. I don't know if you can see them down there. They're not anywhere near as good as they were last year, but this is I think it's the 4th or the 5th year these strawberry plants have been in. So as the year goes on, the years go on, they get sort of weaker and weaker, the plants do. So what I need to do most certainly, as soon as these are finished fruiting, is get all the plants out, dig the ground over, put lots of chicken muck and lots of organic material in there. Get the ground all back up and sort of lots of nutrition in there, and then I can plant the young plants back in, or get some fresh plants. But any old plants that are quite woody, I wouldn't suggest you put them back in. They're you're best off scrapping them and putting some fresher ones in, and then they'll grow on for next year. So I'll be doing that over sort of, well, as soon as they finish fruiting, which will be probably in about a month's time I'll get onto it then and get it all dug out, get all the weeds out, put some good stuff in there and then replant it. So I hope this episode has been of some use to you. Please don't hesitate to put any comments or questions you've got below, and I'll always get back to you, and I'll see you on the next episode of Jim's Allotment Garden.